If you are someone who is excited with startups and business and finding a company, then this particular podcast is made for you. So, in this particular episode, I am going to host Mrs. Dipali Mathur, who is the co founder and CEO of Super Smelly. Super Smelly is a company which deals with natural products and non toxin products. So, in this series of podcasts, I am going to host some good founders who have built great products in the market and whose story isn't out there on the internet yet. So in this particular episode we discussed about what it looks like becoming a founder, how to validate your idea, how to structure your startup idea, the products that you are using right now for your health or for your skin or for anything that you are buying from a supermarket or a shop that is near your house. So how do you actually test out that if this product is made for you or is right for you or not? Watch this particular episode till the end and you will get a lot of knowledge from it. I will see you in the episode. Hello people, all the people listening here. Today I have with me in this first episode of Finding the Founder, I have with me Miss Dipali ma'am, who is the co-founder and CEO of Super Smelly. So I'll just want her to give a little introduction of what Super Smelly does and what's the background of her.
Hi, Dhairya. I'm so happy to be the first one on your show. That makes it special. And my little request is please take my name. Call me Dipali. And you can remove the ma'am. Yeah, remove the suffix. I'm
Yeah.
glad to be talking to you today. And since you asked what the story of Super Smelly is, I'll give you a little background. That I was a banker. In fact, I was a private banker working with Standard Chartered Bank, when I decided I wanted to get into full-time entrepreneurship. But when it comes to Super Smelly, it is an idea that was triggered due to a certain personal struggle that I faced. But because I was a banker back then, there were a lot of numbers that really excited me as well to really take the plunge and leave the job. So apart from being a banker, I was also a mother. And that time my baby was very tiny. And like any other parent of today, every time we would take any decision for her, whether it was for her pediatrician, her vaccination, her school, anything to do with her, we would do a lot of research. Like all of us, all the parents do in these times of Google. And therefore, when it came to skincare, I had two golden rules which I used to follow. The first one was that I wanted every product that I bought for her to be 100% toxin free, so that nothing that goes into making that product should ever harm her. Because, I thought I would rather err on the side of caution than to make any mistakes when it comes to her health. The second rule that I used to follow was that I would check that the product should be specifically dermatologically tested for her age group. Now, these two golden rules were very easy to follow when she was a little baby. But as she was growing up, and she's been into a lot of sports, she used to play tennis and soccer at that time. And I decided that now she's a tween girl and I should introduce her to toxin-free deodorants. And there was time, I thought it is time to get her a face wash. It is at that point in time that I realized that my baby girl is a part of that massive Gen Z. This is a generation that comes after millennials. You are Generation Z,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there is no brand making any products for you guys. So, which meant that I was not the only parent, or Prashali was not the only one looking for, both of us were not the only ones looking for solutions and products for ourselves. There is this massive 40% of India's population probably who doesn't have a choice. So why was this huge white space existing? I couldn't understand. I mean, there were a lot of, they still are new age and traditional baby care products and products for the mom. And then there are a ton of brands making products, for anti-aging and, for mature adults, but nothing for tweens, teens, and young adults. So that is how the idea came into play. There was enough, there were enough numbers to understand how big the market size could be. And there was this personal need, struggle, and a huge sense of responsibility. Being the previous generation, then you guys, I thought, if I don't do anything about it, who else will? Should I then wait for somebody else to do something for the next generation, or should I just take things in my hands and, because I feel so much for it, do something on my own? So I decided to do something on my own, and that's where the idea of the brand came up.
It's a good story right now. Okay, so there's a story behind this, that why I was why I saw Super Smelly, because there's a story. When I was in around ninth or 10th class, I didn't had a brand. Like I used deodorant. It was basically of like brands like Park Avenue and Fog, and वो जो brand advertisement चलती है ना, Fog लगाओ and Fog चल रहा है, वो सब चीजें उसके accordingly I bought Park Avenue and Fog from the local supermarket, and when I applied it, it caused some type of itching on the skin. Like
Okay.
it's a thing that we cannot apply directly on the skin. So it's a really good idea. I mean, so the one thing that I saw in the supermarkets and all is that I thought कि अगर मैं कोई नॉन टॉक्सिन ब्रांड लेने जाऊंगा, like these are the brands जिनके ingredients तो कोई इतना डेप्थ में जाके देखता नहीं है, but you saw it and you created it. So on the price perspective, कि these deodorants are already really like around price at around 200 rupees or 220 rupees. So, and I saw your deodorants and your products, so they are also costed around like this. So how do you manage that cost, or how is that like same only?
So it is not the same, धैर्य. अगर आप देखोगे तो प्राइस में डिफरेंस है. हमारा 100 ml deodorant, we tried really hard to come at a price point of 250. It's called the Brad. But apart from that, there are fragrances at 350 and there are fragrances at 450. But the idea was for somebody like you, Dhairya, who was actively looking for a toxin-free solution, you will buy it. Maybe you will not even look at the price and you will be happily willing to pay the premium that there exists. But for somebody who's not looking actively for a toxin-free deodorant, they will probably look at the price, they will look at the fragrance, they'll look at so many other things. So it was very important to give that entry-level pricing. In fact, that is the reason we also introduced pocket perfumes. कि आप try करो, आप use करना शुरू करो. That is when you'll realize क्या tangible और intangible benefits हैं. एंड मैं ये एग्जांपल बहुत देती हूँ धैर्य. ये जो टॉक्सिन्स होते हैं ना प्रोडक्ट्स में, दिस इज लाइक क्लाइमेट चेंज. ये धीरे धीरे एक्यूमुलेट होते हैं, आपको एकदम से कुछ नहीं दिखता. मगर अगर इसलिए कोई कुछ करता नहीं है, करेक्ट, अब मैं क्यों 150 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा दूं, कुछ हो थोड़ी रहा है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है हमें. तो अगर मैं एक केले का छिलका और फेंक दूंगी या मैंने एक और प्लास्टिक रैपर फेंक दिया, कुछ हो थोड़ी रहा है, करेक्ट. मगर यही अगर टेररिस्ट अटैक होता और सारी बिल्डिंग्स गिर रही होती, हमारी सारी गवर्नमेंट्स के सारे पैसे इकट्ठे होके वी वुड हैव डन समथिंग अबाउट इट. It is like that. It is exactly like that. So for you to be able to spend that extra, eventually, slowly, it will take time because you don't see anything immediately happening to your body. But आप मानोगे धैर्य, as the one grows older, and you would have heard in your family, लोग बात करते हैं ये तो बिल्कुल परफेक्टली हेल्दी था, ये तो जिम भी जाता था, खाने का भी इतना ध्यान रखता था, इसको कैंसर कैसे हो सकता है. You get surprised. ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है. We never think about what have we done during our life. What is the climate? What kind of pollution are we living in? What are we eating? What are we applying on the body? Then 60% of what we apply is absorbed, and a lot of it cannot be flushed out of the body. तो वो इतनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग धैर्य जितनी आप में है, and you were looking for a product like this, हर एक में नहीं होते. That's why the pricing is very important, and therefore we have an entry level product also, but the quantity is lower, because to get to a product quality like ours, there is a premium on ingredients, there is a premium on being environmentally friendly, there is a premium on only using IFRA compliant fragrances. If we have time, I'll just quickly tell you what that is. वो आपका एक golden rule हो सकता है. क्या होता है, एक डिओड्रेंट में या किसी भी प्रोडक्ट में आपको फ्रेग्रेंस अच्छी लगनी होती है, बट फ्रेग्रेंसेस आर हार्मफुल. मोस्ट फ्रेग्रेंसेस आर हार्मफुल. बट व्हाट वी डू एट सुपर स्मेली इज वी ओनली use IFRA compliant fragrances. ये एक international body है. Any fragrance which is compliant, which says कि मैं IFRA compliant, it means that it is non-toxic fragrance. Obviously, you end up paying extra, but at least you do that and you make yourself safe and yet enjoy the product, isn't it? So that's how we do it. Smaller pack, same price point. Bigger pack comes at a slight premium.
Okay, great. So I'm curious to ask one question here, that where did it come from that you noticed the ingredients included in the product? Because if I talk about personally, and so many people out there, they don't see the ingredients on a deodorant actually. Because क्या होता है, वो खाने के पैकेट वाले तो टीवी में एडवर्टीजमेंट देखता हूँ कि ये देखो उसके बाद you purchase, and in a deodorant it's not a thing right now. So how did you actually notice the ingredients that they are not using the right ingredients, that over the period of time it can accumulate and harm the skin and all of those things? So how did you?
So there I never did it for myself. But I could not have done it for my daughter. I think it is simply that. Jab
Hmm.
my daughter's name is Prashali. When it came to Prashali, I started reading labels there. हर प्रोडक्ट पढ़ती थी मैं कि ये खाएगी तो इसमें क्या क्या है, अगर ये इसके बॉडी पे लगे, if it's going to touch her body, what is it made of? I never did it for myself, but now I do it for myself also, because that is when I realized that nearly 80-90% of products don't really care about what they're putting in. uh, Maybe they're not aware. I will give them the benefit of doubt that they don't know any better. But the moment you realize that, you know, हम लोग को लगता है ना सल्फेट फ्री पैराबेन फ्री इज सेफ, अब इतनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ गई है हमको, करेक्ट? But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other ingredients. In fact, there do this exercise. You go to any chemist or any grocery shop and pick up any deodorant. दो तीन तो आपको वैसे ही दिख जाएंगे ऑफेंडर्स. जैसे ट्राइक्लोजन जरूर होता है, एल्यूमिनियम होता है, आपको थैलेट्स दिखेंगे, आपको पैराबेन्स तो आप पहचान जाओगे. यू नो, सो वंस यू स्टार्ट रीडिंग लेबल्स you can easily catch them. इतने भी सारे नहीं है कि आप उन्हें catch ना कर पाओ. But for me, it started with my own daughter.
Okay, okay. So it's actually understandable कि जो DMart में, if you have seen, there are so many offers going on. So I go there, I see Fog and Park Avenue deodorants. In a medical shop, I get in a medical or general store, I get it for around rupees 200, and when I go in DMart, I get it at around 200, buy one get one free. So like
Okay.
it's totally understandable कि उसमें products ही वो नहीं है कि वो आपको इतना costly, मतलब उसमें cost ही इतना involve नहीं हो रहा है in depth. So this was a great thing. So I have seen right now so many D2C companies are coming right now who are like promoting these kinds of products कि use natural products. If we like name some of them, or like जो Mamaearth and Wow. So they have a good product, but again I haven't uh, gone totally into the ingredients of what they are making up and all. And mostly क्या होता है, I have seen they are working through their referral program only. कि they have a lot of advertisement कि these are natural products, these are good products, use them, and after that it's just about like giving the referrals or price discounts and buying it. So like,
Yeah.
what's your perspective on it? Like, are you looking out to these brands and thinking that like I have to make, like अभी भी उनके पास वो चीजें हैं जो उनको नेचुरल पूरे तरीके से नॉन हार्म स्किन के लिए कुछ वो लोग बना रहे हैं, या लाइक अभी भी कुछ उसमें इश्यूज हैं? व्हाट्स योर पर्सपेक्टिव टू इट?
So there, I'll not name any company, right?
हाँ, yeah, sure.
And yeah, I will not say what one's doing right or what one's doing wrong, but I'll speak from the point of view of a consumer, right? Somebody like you. I would urge you to start reading labels, and it'll answer pretty much everything for you. A lot of see क्या है ना, India में there is no regulatory body. If let's say if I say that I'm toxin free, nobody is questioning me. So it's up to me. Do I do anything about it? If I am, if I am a very conscientious individual, what I'll do is, like we've done for Super Smelly, we got our certifications. So Safe Cosmetics Australia says we are 100% toxin free. It's not just me saying it. Then we get them clinically tested. So these dermatologists say that it is appropriate for young skin. I am not the only one saying it. बट अगर मैं नहीं भी कराऊंगी तो मुझसे कोई पूछ नहीं रहा है. सो आप जब भी ऐसे कोई भी ब्रांड, यू कम अक्रॉस अ न्यू ब्रांड एंड यू वांट टू नो आर दे ऑथेंटिक टू व्हाट दे आर सेइंग. आई जस्ट गेव यू एन एग्जांपल. अ लॉट ऑफ ब्रांड्स विल से इट इज पैराबेन फ्री and that's it, and you assume if it is paraben free it is a safe brand, yeah, or if it is sulfur free it is a safe brand. But I'll give you one pointer. Look at the ingredients and you will find phenoxyethanol, you'll find phthalates, you'll find pegs, you'll find EDTA. Abhi this is sounding very technical, but aap thoda sa bhi isme jaoge na, you will be able to then spot these. Then you will realize that okay, प्राइस तो इसका एग्जैक्टली उतना ही है जितना हिमालय का लेट्स से नीम फेस वॉश है, but it is saying that I am a lot better, I am this free and I'm that free. Is it really all of that, or it is hidden behind what they're just telling us, which is little bit. So yes, to answer your question, because now there are a lot of D2C brands, there are a lot of claims, but it is upon us to ensure that we educate ourselves up to at least that limit, that we say at least we're able to then check if this one is making this claim, is there somebody endorsing the claim, who's saying it, and what about the other ingredients. So it's more upon us than right now on these brands.
इट्स लाइक कि एक सिंपल गूगल सर्च वो काम कर सकता है, लेकिन उसको करने की कोई मेहनत नहीं करता आज के टाइम में.
बट धैर्य हमको इफेक्ट भी नहीं करता ना. अब वो मेरी, बिकॉज एज अ पेरेंट मुझे लगता है कि फर्क पड़ेगा. मैंने आज गलत डिसीजन लिया, इट्स गोना हार्म हर आफ्टर सो मेनी इयर्स. हु इज टू ब्लेम इट? आई एम टू ब्लेम इट. आई एम मेकिंग हर डिसीजंस. बट क्या मैंने अपने लिए की थी रिसर्च? नहीं की. But I see that your generation is very aware. I've come across a lot of people your age, because we have made a brand for you guys, who actually check ye vegan hai kya, is it cruelty free. They also ask us about how are you environmentally conscious, things like those. Yeah, so yours is a very good and aware generation. Maybe we were not that aware, and we were not that we didn't value these things that much. So as we see your generation, then generation alpha, I think you guys will start reading. You are anyway much more aware than we ever were.
So this was one of the question also that I saw that everywhere आपके brand के ऊपर there was Gen Z, मतलब there was Gen Z mentioned over there. So this was one of the question that why it's particular to Gen Z, and like why it's not advertised to other generations कि millennials भी इसको use करें, या if you are old you can also use it and save your skin. So why it's particular to Gen Z right now? What's the difference that Gen Z and millennials create in between?
So as I wanted to create a brand, the very idea, the very reason I created the brand was because I realized there was no brand for Gen Z. There were brands for babies, there were brands for mature adults, but there was nothing for Generation Z. And therefore, I realized I don't want to be everything for everybody. I want to cater to this generation, which is the future. Your skin is different from everybody's skin. Now, let me break it up. When it comes to, let's say, deodorants, I say it is for Gen Z. But of course, if I use it, or if somebody who's 50 or 60 uses it, of course, nothing will happen. Correct? So it's safe for me, it's effective for me. But why is it specifically for Gen Z? Because I have tested my product for people from 7 to about 18 years of age. The other brands that you spoke of, I don't know if they've tested it for this age group. Definitely not for this age group. May have tested for older people. So I say that it is for Gen Z because there is nothing for you guys. But this one is specifically dermatologically tested, safe for you guys. Of course, if somebody older uses it, they can use it and it will be equally effective. When it comes to skincare, the second part, younger skin requirements and an older skin's requirements are different. So, let's say it's a moisturizer. Fine, I can use it. I can use your moisturizer. I can even use a baby's moisturizer. Correct? But when it comes to, let's say, acne, adult acne and teenage acne is different. The requirement of the skin, most of your adult products will cater to fine lines. They will have things to brighten skin, to whiten skin, and whatnot. You don't need it. Your skin has enough collagen. Your skin has enough elasticity. The kind of problems that puberty and change of hormones and younger skin goes through are also very different from what the challenges and priority of a mature skin are. So therefore, this is a brand for youngsters. It is a brand specially curated for Gen Z. And when I say that, my generation, we were told not to use hair gels. Why? Because our mothers thought it leads to hair fall, it leads to graying of hair, and the third and the worst was it used to make our hair crispy.
By the way, it still happens, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
So then we made a hair gel with flaxseed. It has strong hold. Okay. It stimulates hair growth because we could in the formulation put in hemp oil, and there's a formulation where we have onion oil. So if it touches your scalp, it will not do any harm. Rather, it will stimulate hair growth. We put biotin in that. Again, that is something for hair growth. And all of these two products, they're so effective. They do not lead to premature graying. And, suddenly, when we had this product, we got such a tremendous response because, it kind of says ना मैं बाल ग्रे करूंगा, ना मैं आपके बाल हेयर फॉल होंगे, ना थिनिंग होगी, and yet you can style your hair every day. Isn't it
Hmm.
amazing? Um, so when you're young, you need certain things, and there has to be somebody who understands it and exactly makes what you want. And since there was nobody doing it for the generation, I really wanted to make a brand which is specializing in providing solution for the young.
It's good to hear right now, right? There's a generation change because if you see before a decade of like take a leap of 5 years before, you can see there's no brand doing these things and no one is checking the ingredients and all. And right now, after 2015 or 16, we went into this all about कि these are natural products and these are good products, use them. And वहां से एक वो जो chain थी वो एक start हुई. And it's great to hear here that somebody is like testing the products and like your brand Super Smelly is right now testing the products and then releasing it out because जितना बड़ा ब्रांड होता है जितनी बेटर उसकी मार्केटिंग होती है नो वन टेस्ट इट आउट कि लाइक लोग वो मार्केटिंग देख के ही मोस्टली खरीद लेते हैं कि यार इट विल बी गुड लेट्स ट्राई इट आउट वंस एंड देन वी विल सी कि हाउ इट वर्क्स सो like catering to the business sides of it, how did you actually validated the idea in the upfront? Like you went to the market, you didn't get anything, and then how did you actually validate the idea ki yaar I have to start something like this? So what's that first tipping point where you took the action and you thought ki yaar I will now start? So what's the story behind this scenario?
So I had access to other parents like myself. It started from there, talking to them and understanding what do they do when they want a product for their tween, teen, young adult. What do they do? I realized all of them want something which is a toxin-free and appropriate for them solution, but they probably end up giving them their products, or they give them the product of the kid sister or kid brother, thinking that that should help, that should be okay. So that was the starting point. Then we started talking to a lot of kids of your generation to see would something like this excite them, right? We used to do a lot of focus groups. We realized that so far for them, they don't have a platform where they can, talk about what they want, or especially when it comes to personal care, whatever dad is using, whatever mom's using, is probably what they are also supposed to use.
Mhm.
There may have been a felt need, but they never felt that maybe they're shortchanged because there's nobody making anything for them. But it did excite this bunch. If there was something specially for them, what excited them more was if there was a platform through the brand where they can talk about things which they want to talk about. In countries like US and UK, there are a lot of teen, tween, under 25 tribes where a lot of topics which are otherwise shoved under the carpet, they're able to talk about. Things like gender neutrality, same-sex partners, the challenge of standing out, yet the
Mhm.
problem of being able to fit in. There are a lot of things that you go through in these formative years of your life. Even if you have the coolest parent, they're not who you are going to discuss all of this with, correct? You want people who are going through the same to be able to discuss it out. So that was an exciting perspective. So I did see there's a huge potential of a young community in the country because there are a lot of things everybody wants to talk about. But I think the initial validation came from when we could arrive at a MVP, minimum viable product. So what we did was we started working on formulations of deodorant. So I'm a chemistry honors. I have a background in chemistry. Therefore, product formulation was something I was very, very excited about and deeply involved in. And my agenda was that this product I should be first able to give my daughter, then I will launch it. So I should have that faith in the product that Prashali is going to use it. उसने कर लिया use, तो obviously मैं वो launch करूंगी. Which means the product ऐसा होना चाहिए that it's not just effective, it's absolutely safe for her. So we started with deodorant, face washes, all of these formulations, and we did little quantities. We made small quantities. We launched it. We got listed on major e-com platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. And we started getting feedback. These platforms, you get instant reviews, instant feedback. And then we started sales. We started getting feedback. We started getting some response. We increased batches, we increased our quantity, and slowly, as we got some proof of concept, we started adding SKUs, and we started adding fragrances, as well as, building the product suite and quantities. So that's how we very slowly built it. And everything used to be, we used your focus groups, your generation, as a sounding board. हम क्या brand का नाम रखें, कैसे products अच्छे होते हैं, what do they like, what kind of packaging you all like. We got an insight where they said natural is very boring. Very boring brown packaging, white, it's so boring. I want something like Bath and Body Works. It's so exciting. I don't care so much if it is toxin free or not, but the fragrance has to be nice. These were insights that we got from these youngsters, and it stayed with us. We worked on that. In fact, the deodorant called Whoosh, which was the first deodorant that we launched in a small batch, we changed the fragrance after we finished the inventory that we had, because everybody said we don't like the fragrance. It has to be long lasting. We want something stronger. Though it was my most favorite fragrance out of everything we launched, but I understood that the brand is not for me. The brand is for another generation, much younger, and we have to be nimble footed and do what they like. A D2C brand is capable of doing that. If it was a big brand launching truckloads of SKUs in a big market, it's very difficult to then keep making these changes. But we could do it because we were small, we were nimble footed. And once we had some proof of concept and validation, is when we then expanded. Though we are only about 2.5 years old here, we are not a very old brand. We launched our operations in Jan 2019. But within these 2.5 years also, there was enough learning that came only because we were a digital first brand. और कोई रूट होता हमारा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन तो कंज्यूमर इनसाइट मिलते मिलते शायद बहुत टाइम लग जाता.
It's a very good insight कि लोग अभी भी like people think that natural products are boring and all of those things, and your packaging actually proves it कि it's the packaging में वो एक vibe आ जाती है कि like people should use it कि एक वो Gen Z के लिए एक वो जो characters and the things that you use under packaging, it's really good. So right now, how are you looking into the international market? Like, is there something that people have in the international market and there's nothing like in Indian market? So what's the comparison looks like right now?
So if you look at the Korean skin and fragrance market, it is so evolved. हम लोग Korean beauty की बात करते हैं, and whether they start very young, so teenagers, young tweens, it's an evolved category there. Even in US, UK, it's an evolved category. India में तो category ही नहीं थी. मतलब आपके baby care है, आपका anti aging है, कोई बीच के लिए कोई category किसी ने बनाया नहीं. So there was no marketing money coming here. So nobody is talking about products for Gen Z. But other countries, it's much more evolved. A lot of countries have a lot of brands. In the US, there's a brand called Prep You. It is specifically for teenage boys or young boys, under 25 boys and girls. And there are a ton of brands overseas. But we always, I realize that we follow, right? We will follow what the global trends are, and why should we follow? Today, you are exactly watching what a kid your age is watching on Netflix sitting in US. You exactly know what the trends are, what's happening in which part of the country. So all of us are pretty much, we know what we believe in. The beliefs are the same. The content is the same. Ideas are the same. So I don't think that the lag is going to be so huge. We will also soon develop this category, which will be great for Super Smelly, because the more players there are within the category, the better it is for us to also then grow. As far as our prospects overseas, I think this deodorant spray is the most innovating and path-breaking product that Super Smelly has made. In the colder countries, they have toxin-free deodorant sticks, which are the most inconvenient in tropical climates like ours. I mean, if you've used a stick, it's sticky. It's not practical in this kind of humidity. But they're very big on using deodorants, and therefore, if we can find a way of introducing deodorant sprays in various other countries, I think it should be a big win for us. We did start it. So we started with Amazon US before the pandemic broke out, but then because of issues in exports and because of the corona, there were a lot of restrictions. We couldn't really take it forward. But I'm really hoping by 2022 things will be much better, and we should be able to, at least Middle East and Canada and US, we should be able to explore through a third party platform like Amazon.
Great. It's great.
Okay,
Like huh?
sorry, you were saying something. I wanted to tell you something very interesting.
I
I don't know if
was
you.
आई वाज जस्ट सेइंग कि लाइक इंडिया जैसे अपन ने कोविड-19 की वैक्सीन बनाई वैसे ही वी आर
Huh.
मेकिंग लाइक क्रुएल्टी फ्री एंड नॉन टॉक्सिन प्रोडक्ट सो इट्स रियली गुड टू हियर दैट द लास्ट ईयर वी मेड अ वैक्सीन एंड दिस ईयर वी आर लाइक बिफोर दिस ईयर फ्रॉम 2019 योर ब्रांड इज चेंजिंग how we should use the natural products and all of those things. Please continue.
No. I was just interestingly, I was telling you that in our country, forever, if you see any deodorant ad, what you see, a deodorant spray getting sprayed on the body, and 5 girls sticking to you. So it's
Yeah.
basically a weapon to get a girlfriend, or at least to get attention.
Yes.
And it's a product only for men. And therefore, in India, 70% of deodorant consumption is only by boys, 30% is girls. It's very sad. If you see, a lot of girls stop playing any sport after they are 13, 14, because they worry they'll get tanned. There are a lot of things, societal pressures, right? But in Western countries, 70% of deodorant sales come from girls because they're more aware,
Okay.
and right. So there's a huge change that we think we've embarked on that journey, where it's not just the product per se that needed a facelift, and it needed to be understand better. Like you use a toothpaste in the morning, like you use a body wash in the morning, one has to use a deodorant, boy or girl. It's got nothing to do with getting a date. It's about your basic hygiene. But we've never positioned it like that. So I really hope that the new generation that you all are, you will change that also. Yeah, you will exactly, because you guys exactly know what anything which is frothy and um, meaningless, you identify it. And deodorants, unfortunately, this category is burdened with a lot of prejudice, that it's only for boys, it is only for dates. But change it. I hope you do that. It is for everybody. You're supposed to wear a deodorant. You're supposed to apply it on the body, and body odor is as bad as a foul mouth, right? So yeah.
Hope it really becomes true, because it's like what we see in the visuals, because in the movies and all, in the web series movies, it's shown that the college students or hostel students, they are not bathing in a day, but they are using a deodorant instead to get that like smell inside them, and to get that कि we are going good, we are going good. So deodorant को उस तरीके से position करके रखा है कि we cannot change it for good, कि it's to use daily and it's to use for good. So we
Yes.
have to change and position that actually, because I believe it's going wrong according to what I hear from you right now.
Yes.
So going after it, there was a good insight. A question that I wanted to ask you is that you might have heard of Kunal Shah. He's the founder of Recharge and Cred right now. So he always states that in one or two podcasts and on Twitter also, he always says that the women employment in India, the rate of women employment in India is right now at really less, like nearly 8 or 9%. It's in India right now. But if we see in like the countries like Bangladesh, and even Bangladesh has a really high women employment rate in their country. So, like, what's your point on that? Ki why is it so in India that women aren't like more into employment, or like what's the thing? Because the ratio shows here that it's so low. Like total population ke andar sirf 8 and 9% women are actually employed, and rest all the women are like housewives, or like they have something going around, but there's no employment in them, and they are not earning right now.
I think the numbers are a little better when it comes to entrepreneurship. There are only 11% women out of the entire entrepreneurial community. But when it comes to the workforce, the representation is a little more, about 25%. But when it comes to the top jobs, the CEO, CFO level jobs, it's only 2% representation. So I think women join the workforce Of course, it's much lower than men. But then as they go up the ladder, they're also expanding their families. And when it comes to having children and having an extended family that you have to look after, they drop off or they take a back seat, and their ambition and their aspirations maybe become lesser, or the society expects them to be more responsible towards household duties. But I think what we also understand today is that the more women, enter the workforce, the better it is for the economy. If you look at the total, numbers for the economy, there's only one way to be able to become that 1 trillion economy that we wish to be in the next 5 years. And that is to have more representation and more women working in the workforce, because 45% of the population is women.
For
Because if
sure.
they don't join the workforce, they are dependent financially on their families. See, the reasons can be many, and there are a lot of reasons. They are financially lesser independent. Education wise, I think uh, still at large their education is compromised. um, Even after getting educated, a lot of women give up their careers because automatically, when it comes to a home, the expectation or the overall responsibility of home is slightly more, or in certain cases a lot more, on the shoulders of the women of the house. But the point is that my generation and your generation are trying to change that, and there are ways around it, but it's not easy. It is still a little more difficult for a woman to work, especially in later part of her life, than it is for men. But there are ways to do it. One has to develop an ecosystem. It is not a choice, either have children or make a career. One can do both. But as it said, you can't have it all. There are challenges, and there will continue to be. But as more and more women come out and be a part of the women workforce, the better it is for the economy, the better it is for the company, for the country. But what has to then change is the contribution of the boys, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that, but a man works 9 to 6, comes home, sits with the feet up, and keeps his laptop on his stomach or watches TV. But a woman comes home 9 to 6, she immediately wants to know, is my fridge full? Is the dinner ready? Or what did we have to order from the grocer? Is the homework done? What did we have to prepare for tomorrow? Etc. etc. The man sleeps at night thinking, oh, I have been an awesome dad, a great worker, and I was amazing. A woman comes back on the bed and she thinks, oh my God, I was so terrible. I couldn't spend time with my daughter. The homework is still left. And oh my God, I should have come a little early. There were guests at home. And oh my God, I was such a pathetic worker today. For half an hour, I was working on my child's admission. So there is a difference, there is a difference, and we'll take time to balance it. But uh, there is hope, because there are boys, there are men who are bringing the change. It is not just upon women and girls to make the change. There are men and there are boys who are bringing that change with a fresh new mindset, who are contributing a lot more at home, because they're not doing any favor to anybody. It's their house also, and they know it and they believe it, and that is what their upbringing is. So it is upon parents to bring their boys up knowing and believing that it's equal partnership, right? So long way to go, but you're right. More women. It has to be more women joining the workforce.
Totally agree to your point, and also it's relatable because as we all like see in our homes, like what our moms does, they are all the time in the kitchen preparing some food, taking care of the like सब कुछ अच्छे से रहे, एंड घर में भी दे आर ऑल ओवर कि सब कुछ अच्छे से रहे, कुछ खराब ना हो, या हमको कुछ चाहिए तो दे आर ऑल ओवर कि टेक दिस एंड टेक दैट. सो इट्स टोटली अग्रीड. एंड ऑल्सो वुमेन एम्प्लॉयमेंट उसमें इंक्रीज होना चाहिए. देयर शुड बी increase in that. So also like how did you started it? Like you, as you told, you were already in banking. So were you doing a job before you started Super Smelly, or you had a leap in between and then you actually got an idea and thought to give it a try? Like what's
So
what's
not my first business there.
okay.
I quit banking because I had set up a salon and a spa. And when it started doing okay, as in after 1 year of operations, I quit my job because it needed more attention. And I have the same partner as I do in Super Smelly, Milan, who's also a partner in my other business. And then we wanted to expand it from one to two. So that is when I quit my job. But I did not quit it till the time I was sure that I will make money to be able to pay my EMIs and to be able to at least meet the financial commitments that I had at that time, because I did not start very young. That when you start a setup in your 20s, you don't have any responsibilities. So it's a good time to start to that extent. But I was in my 30s, and I had a daughter, I had a family. So I had those responsibilities. So um, I, I kept these savings aside. I was not financially dependent on anybody, but yes, I had commitments like EMIs, etc. So I quit to establish that other business, which had started giving returns. But by the time Super Smelly was taking form, I was fully involved here. I was not in any full-time job anywhere.
It said like the real growth happens when you give it a full time, like give it a full time to a business. Also,
That's
like
true.
I'm totally hopeful that this status game and all of these things get over, मतलब जल्दी से ये चीजें खत्म हो, क्योंकि more and more people are getting in this status team. Mostly I haven't visited any foreign country, but what I hear on the internet is that Americans and all of those people living in foreign countries, they are not really status, and they actually see what they are consuming and what they are using, and it's good to their product or not, it's worth giving the money or not. So these are these things, and we are actually right now also, we are, I think, looking at the conditions and looking not actually conditions but looking at the environment. I really think that most people are right now also in the same situation कि जो deodorant ज़्यादा चलता है, अगर fog चल रहा है तो मैं fog ले लूँगा, अगर Park Avenue अच्छा लग रहा है तो मैं वो ले लूँगा. So it's all about, we have to be like more cautious about what we are using and what we aren't. So
But आपकी generation ऐसी नहीं है. Our generation was like that. जैसे for example, I'm very fond of buying clothes. तो मेरे को ये भी खरीदना है, fast fashion भी खरीदना है. But when I talk to my daughter and she is 12, she'll tell me, I don't need clothes. I have so many clothes and I can make new combinations and upcycle them. Why do you need more clothes? You have so many clothes. And I'm surprised that she's my daughter. Similarly, I see her picking up a banana peel on the road. किसी और ने फेंका होता है, वो जाके उठा के फेंक देती है डस्टबिन में. And I ask her, अरे wait, let me give you a newspaper. It doesn't matter, Mama, I'll wash my hands. So you guys are good. You are more aware, you're more conscious, and you're really kind and good people, and you're better than us in more ways than one. That is why the world is going to be in very good hands.
hopefully. So
Yes.
totally agree. Like जो Gen Z generation है, it's good right now. मतलब they are really more aware than this. But I am as I'm 19 right now. So what I see in my age group or like people जो 18, 19, 20 age years के हैं, they are right now. I see them in a status generation. Now I don't know that ये मेरी city में हो रहा है या बाहर कहीं हो रहा है, because I haven't explored too much, so I cannot put a point on that. But it's happening right now for a little point also. अगर 2% भी हो रहा है तो it's happening right now. But this Gen Z generation is definitely like more aware, and they are like of the things ki what we have to take and what we do not have to take. So yeah, I mean, it was a great convo till here. So if someone who wants to be a founder in this age, like he is 20, he or she is 20, 21, 19, and they want to start their entrepreneurial journey, or they want to have a business and do not want to depend totally on college. Ki I have to go to college, take up a job, and after that move on to like the stability and all of those things. So how did one decide कि yeah, I have this idea. How do I decide कि I have to validate this idea? Then I can start this one. I can make money from it, and then like I can, because as you also mentioned that the risk factor is totally there, and the biggest risk factor in this age is monetary risk, because
That's true.
and इस age में risk, we have a less risk than if we start up a startup at 25 or 26, because till that point we have that responsibility to cater to. So like
Yes.
what's your one piece of advice to someone who wants to start his journey right now?
the only thing that I would want to tell the bunch of 20-year-olds budding entrepreneurs is that start something that you genuinely strongly believe in, because what you need every day as an entrepreneur is drive to persevere. रोज लगता है कि ये जो मैं कर रहा हूँ ये शायद ठीक नहीं है, you know, because proof of concept आते आते validation मिलते मिलते ना time मिलता है. और with social media we are so much used to instant gratification. Photo डाली और likes आ गए. It doesn't happen like that in real life, right? It'll take a lot of sleepless nights. It'll take a lot of upskilling there. क्या होता है, इवन एट दिस एज जब मैंने शुरू किया, सब कुछ तो नहीं आता ना. प्रोडक्ट ठीक है, केमिस्ट्री ऑनर्स थे, प्रोडक्ट समझ में आने लगा, बैंकिंग में थे, फाइनेंस समझ आने लगा, बट डिजिटल परफॉर्मेंस नहीं आता था मुझे. तो क्या करते, शुरू में तो कोई हायरिंग भी नहीं आप कर सकते. इफ यू वांट रियली गुड गाइज यू कांट हायर देम बिकॉज यू कांट अफोर्ड देम. द ओनली थिंग यू कैन डू इज अपस्किल, अपने आप को सिखा सकते हो. Correct? So that journey initially is quite tough there. Age is on your side. कुछ loss हो भी जाएगा तो कुछ नहीं होता. There is nobody else suffering with you, right? But do something. The only thing that stayed with me is that if you do something which you genuinely believe in, or you genuinely think that will change something and has capacity to scale. Idea अभी छोटा है, थोड़ा सा ही करेगा, but ये scalable है. इसकी इतनी market है. Right? Go for it. Go for it. नहीं भी आता होगा ना, you on your way you will meet people and you ask for one, but I'll tell you one more. Ask for help. Just ask for help on LinkedIn, on Instagram, wherever you are. कोई मना नहीं करेगा आपको. बोलो मुझे ये नहीं समझ में आ रहा, I need a mentor. आप मेरी help कर दो. People will come out and help you. Maybe 5 will say no. The 6th one will agree. Yeah, there are more good people than bad out there. So just do something that you genuinely believe in, do something which is scalable, and wherever you get stuck, ask for help.
Yeah, I mean, instant gratification is the one thing that you told, because lack of patience and उन चीजों की वजह से we are like more towards कि we are putting in this much money and we want this much back in 1 month, and that's not how startup works. And I personally believe कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, because as on Twitter, LinkedIn and इन सब चीजों पे, Instagram mostly, we see that the startup is booming like that कि and with the tech coming in, everyone can start up and make their own website, their application, and those all things. So it's all about patience. People understand that we can build tech, we can learn to code, how to code, and then we can start a startup and we will scale just in 1 month and we will have crores of revenue in 1 year or like. So it's all about patience, I believe, right now. So yeah, I mean, any last like going away statement that you want to make? Or
Going away statement, yeah, don't compare your journey there, and this is for everybody. Your journey is going to be very unique. If you read in the papers that there was this company which became a 100 crore company in 2 years, there is one which became a 100 crore company in 1 year. Your journey is not going to be like that, because if you start comparing, you'll be more disheartened than excited about every little achievement that you will have in your journey. So stop comparing. You will have your own story at the time when you want to make that story. कोई right age नहीं है. अभी नहीं किया. You want to take the plunge at 30. I know of somebody who retired at the age of 58, started a factory manufacturing at the age of 60. Today, the company is doing a turnover of upwards of 300 crores and also has had an IPO. 60 years की एज में. तो क्या ही एज इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्या कुछ भी मतलब किसी और की तरह आपकी लाइफ होनी जरूरी है? द आंसर इज नो, बट एंजॉय इट बिकॉज यू विल हैव मोर मिसेस देन विंस. ये तो पक्की बात है. ज्यादा गलतियां होती हैं, फिर एक कुछ अच्छा होता है, एंड दैट जस्ट ड्राइव्स यू टू डू मोर. That's going to be my parting statements.
it was a really good conversation. So yeah, we will take off from the episode from here. And thank you so much for accepting and coming on to the Finding the Founder show. And probably if we grow and if we'll have some people, then we will have you somewhere in future too.
Wish you all the best, Tere. You will definitely grow. This podcast will become very popular. You have all my wishes. And I know if at 19 you can think of so much, I don't know where will you be a few years from now. So do allow me to take your autograph whenever I come to you and recognize me.
For sure.
All right,
For
super.
sure.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
such a
Thank you. Thank you so much.